The role that is played by the facilitators in ensuring people understand what decision they are going to make that day, in understanding the sectors that they are going to engage in, or the priorities that they are going to be discussing about. I think that role is always downplayed in many instances. What you notice in many places is that anyone who works in government can go do public participation. That's the general approach, it seems. But we are noticing that having a facilitator who understands the sector, who understands the decision being made, who can be able to push back when misinformation is being pushed into the discussion, really helps keep people within a certain tangent of discussion and makes it easier for people to make a decision and guide the discussion as well. How many sectors do we have in government? Who can guess? By the way, in this class and in this meeting, tutaguess mpaka tupate answer. Tunakubaliana hiyo? Hakuna mtu alikuja hapa akijua answer. So all of us will guess till we learn together. Is that fine? So how many sectors do you think we have in government? Yes. 18. That's a very smart answer. I know where the 18 has come from. Someone else? How many sectors do you think we have? Hii meza munaniangusha. Simu guess.
I think there are more than 20.
There are more than 20. Someone else? 24. 22. Naona generally niko around 20. The national government, unlike counties, they are not new. The national government and its ministries and sectors have been there for a long time, right? At the national level, we have 10 sectors. Okay? Now, the 10 sectors include sectors like health, education, public administration, and others. Okay? So under each of the sectors, you have ministries. So for example, under the sector education, you have a number of ministries there. You have a state department for basic education, you have a state department for university education, and the rest. So even in the budget, that is how the budget is arranged. Is that you have 10 sectors, we have to decide how much money we give to each of those 10 sectors. Then when we've given each of those sectors their money, then now those sectors have to decide how much money they are going to give to each of their ministries.
Facilitators intervention. What we mean by facilitators intervention, a bit of explanation by the person leading the process. Does it make a difference into how people contribute?
Priorities have to do with what is the priority for the coming year, and what should be given much more focus in the coming year. What do you think are the critical priorities?
Health.
Health, why?
Security and education.
What do you think is, why is source of funding important?
The government has to know where it will get the money to fund a particular project. Will it be paid by the donors? Will it be a loan, or will it be from the taxes? So the source of funding must be known.
Trade-off, if I can explain it in the simplest term, ni ya kwamba it is not that you can do A without B. You need both A and B. It's a question of where do you put more emphasis? And that is informed by two things. One, your approach, whether it is on human capital versus physical capital. It's simply an approach. So social security has to do with not just the physical security of property, but it has to do basically with the safeguarding of well-being. What do I mean by this? Ya kwamba kama wewe ni mzee, ama wewe ni mtoto, ama wewe ni mlemavu, you have an opportunity to live a decent life. And what do we do with this? For instance, we all contribute to NSSF. Ndio siku ile tutazeeka, or private pension. Ndio siku ile tutazeeka kutakuwa na pesa ya kutusaidia. 100 shillings, it is all the money available to government. It is all available for distribution. But you have two sectors. You have energy and you have education. How much will you give to each of these two sectors and why?
If you look at the program, session ilikuwa inaanza from 11. Yeah? You can see that's the session where we are now. program, yeah. And these are some so easy questions mtumie tu kama guiding questions, yeah. So throughout the discussion, you can say what surprised you about the sector, mnaongea, mna discuss. What's the most important thing about this sector, these two sectors? Mna discuss, least important. So just these are just guiding questions. You shouldn't use them exactly, but just to guide you to have the discussion, yeah. And that's it. So yeah, and then you keep on referring to this in case unataka kuona how much money is going to each of the departments and agencies and all that, yeah. And I'll be here in case you have any questions. Yeah. So feel free. We have only 30 minutes. After that, we will come back. Yeah. All right.
Number one, you don't need to read word for word of everything. So, for example, if you're looking at the first one, so you can see the share of MDA, so that's the ministries you have here. So the share of the budget that goes to each of them, for example, right? So by just looking at this, you can tell already what 25, 45, 19. So there's a 45 here, which is for roads. So even without reading the whole table, you can tell the biggest amount of money for infrastructure inaenda kwa barabara. The least amount
0.07
kwa maritime affairs. So you're not reading word for word. I would be happier if you guys kind of shared responsibilities. So for example, for you can look at that and kind of come back to the group and say, by the way, did you guys know I saw this and that? When the next person sees something, then you're all able to cover as much ground as possible. When we go to the group discussion, we'll still have an opportunity to still look at them. But I would want the discussion among you to be more about what you are seeing and what you think is important and what you think is amiss as you go through. And also, it's not just what is here, but also sharing from your own experiences. So you live in Homa Bay, you see roads every day. How are they? Kind of just bring also your own experience into this discussion. Because this is just technical from a document, but your experience could be very different. So musisome word for word yote.
Umepewa shilingi 100 and there are only two sectors. Kuna idara mbili tu katika serikali. Idara moja tutaiita energy broadly, na hiyo idara nyingine tutaiita education broadly. Umepewa shilingi 100 na umeambiwa tungependa ugawanye hii shilingi 100 jinsi ambavyo unaona ni vizuri kulingana na uzito wa yale majukumu ambayo yanahitajika kufanyika katika energy na yanahitajika kufanyika katika education. How do you allocate the 100 shillings? Utagawanya hiyo shilingi 100 vipi? Haya, who wants to go? Acha tuanze na mama.
Sababu nimesema hivyo, pesa ambayo wanalokitea hawa ni chache na kazi yenye wanafanya ni mingi kwa walimu. Unaona hata changamoto iko kwa walimu kwa upande ya mshahara, na pesa ambayo inaenda kwa nini, kwa energy anapewa pesa nyingi, lakini tujaona usito yake ni gani. Alafu usito iko kwa education, ndio maana tupee 70 kwa 30.
Good. So anasema ya kwamba ile kazi ambayo the type of work, the responsibility ya education ni nzito sana, ni ngumu na it's expensive, so we give them more money.
If it is Turkana we are talking about, there is education gap. The literacy is at over 80%. That, and then the infrastructure of education, they are still low, because we are talking about a community that has been marginalized for over 50 years. The other thing that is very contentious, the reason why answering that question is very difficult, we just discovered oil. Economy here is very poor. Employment rate is also very low. So while exploring energy might cause employment to the community around. So in my view, because they are all important, employment is as important as education, I will give it a 50-50. A 50-50, so that we exploit the oil resource that we have, and we also put some money on education. And then those education go specific to those engineering courses of people that will take care of the industries in the oil industries that we are trying to.
Education 60 and infrastructure 40. Reason being, one, it is not, actually we are talking of how much we want it allocated for the two sectors. And if you look at education, State Department for University Education, Research, Science, Technology and Innovation are given was given 3 billion, was allocated 3 billion, that is 2016-2017. 2017-2018, it was allocated 4 billion. But then considering the problems that we have in this nation, that involves infrastructure, we have even had our politicians say that they are going for those Chinese and Americans because our people are not well trained. Meaning, what has been allocated in universities or in education is too little, that people are not able to do proper research, and hence they cannot be able to create companies and jobs for themselves. The government does not need to become the chief engineer of the road, of the Thika road. We just need to have a company of young people or citizens of this republic. They unite together, they form a company, they get funding from whatever source they want to get, and then they can be given the responsibility to improve the infrastructure.
Aya, tuamue. How shall we make a decision? How shall we make this decision? How many are for voting? How many are for voting? Lift up your hand. Kukumbuka kitambo tulikuwa tumeuliza wangapi wanataka tuelewane, lakini sasa wameona options zimekuwa nyingi. Hatutaelewana. Haya basi.
New result.
Haya.
Voting 14 people.
We are left with 3 options. We are left with 3 options. Put education 70, infrastructure and energy 30. Aya, wangapi wanasema by show of hand tutoe hii ya 40-60? Aya. Sasa tumebaki na 70-30 na 60-40.
That 60-40 is not a big margin. So I propose that we go for 60-40.
We have 2 70-30s for education infrastructure, and we have a 40-60 for education infrastructure. So both sides of the seesaw. But his point is interesting as well, right? Because you're thinking of putting more money in infrastructure when you don't have the manpower means that the investment in infrastructure in terms of the actual income that comes from that is actually capital flight that goes out of the country. So whenever a tender is put out for anything specialized, the Chinese have to ship in their sons into this place. So to deal with that, he wants to invest more in education, and then the others can just follow. Okay? Yes.
So me, I would go for 60 for infrastructure and 40 for education. Because, for instance, how many people do we have who are educated in this country? How many? So many people. And they are jobless. Take it for example, like how many institutions of education are we constructing nowadays? How many universities do we have that are being given charter almost every year? We have Kenyatta University, ilipata charter last year. Murang'a University, ilipata charter last year. Those are 2 institutions in the same year. But can you focus on that group that is coming out of that place, that is educated? It still comes back to the society. We still hire the China to come to us. We still hire the Indians to come to us. Why? My question is why? We are investing too much on something that is not bringing profit. That is simply education.
Well, I want Daniel first to respond. And then I'll yes.
You see, when you say we are educated and we are having graduates who are not employed, it pinches me. When I'm seeing Chinese doing some work that they're supposed to be doing. So first of all, you have to address that. why are we inviting experts to our country to do the work that we can be able to do? That the answer is we don't have those expertise. We have random people. And I'm saying and still saying that we need more money in education and be focused as a country towards what we demand and what we require, so that we can utilize our young people and our expatriates in all the areas of our operations. We don't have those people.
So how many are for 60 to education and 40 to infrastructure? How many? 3? Oh, the number has gone up? Infrastructure 60% and education 40%. How many?
So we start with the first one. How many would like us to allocate 40 to energy and 60 to education? By show of hands.
50-50.
50-50.
This is what we are going to do, as I had explained just after lunch. Number one is that each group had its own discussion and came up with their own agreement and their own 3 reasons as to why that agreement was what was the best according to their discussion. So number one, I hope all groups did that, or at least got to some good level. Number two, each representative from each group will come and present to us their division, how they shared the money between the 2 sectors, and their 3 reasons. So a very short presentation. As they are doing that, so let's assume group 1 is doing that. All of us in our little marking scheme, we will rank the reasons they give based on how important we feel they are. As I said, remember our example in the morning about the soap. Okay? What exactly is an adequate reason? Is it the one that gives you a comparison between 2 things? Is it one that uses numbers? So they're able to say, oh, you know, we did this because 20% of people here are poor. Okay? So as they give their reasons from your own evaluation, this will not be group discussion. That's why kila mtu amepata form. So the 3 reasons will also be written up so you can see them. So just rank them. In the form, you have that 3rd column that says, how would you rank these reasons? Between 1 and 5. With 5 being completely adequate and 1 being completely inadequate. So if you give them a 1, it means that reason is not that satisfactory to you. If you give them a 3, you're basically saying it's good, but you could have done better. If it's 5, you are saying what they said is what I would have said, and I am convinced, and if I was the person making this decision, I would have completely gone with that reason. So as each group presents, please rank what they are saying, because that will be very useful for us also to kind of try and gauge what kind of group discussions actually went on. Did they actually discuss anything serious? Or they were completely in the forest. Okay? But at the end of the day is that we want to use those reasons that will be given by the different groups to make one final decision as a group of 20. Sawa sawa? Then when we finish that, we make the final decision and then we finish for the day. Tuko sawa sawa mpaka hapo. Group gani wanataka kwenda wa kwanza?
Social protection, culture and recreation. We gave a percentage of 40%. And governance, justice, law and order, we gave that one 60%. The first one, governance, justice, law and order, it requires more funds due to more involvement compared to social protection, culture and recreation. Reason number 2, it has more MDS. And the reason number 3, it requires more money to perform activity.
Creation, we have allocated 60, and for governance, justice, law and order, we have allocated 40. So on question 1, why did we give the reasons? Or the first reason that we have given is that by giving more to social protection, culture and recreation, we give it an opportunity for increased employment, for social benefit that will help reduce crime, while for the GJLO, that is governance, justice, law and order, for them they actually deal with what has already happened. So for them, they are dealing with an outcome, but not preventing the problem. The reason 2 that we have given is on culture. That culture, by investing or putting more in social protection, culture and recreation, is that we shall be boosting the economy, both the local economy and the national economy for almost every person. Then we shall, by preserving our culture, it will also help us deal with some cases that affects the community. The third reason that we have given is that if you look at the MDAs that are there for the social protection, culture and recreation, it involves Uwezo Fund, it involves Women Fund, it involves Fund for the Disability, National Disaster Management, and we know these are things that come along with us. The allocation that was given was just 45 billion. And when you look at for the governance, justice and law, it was allocated too much, yet most of its work is being duplicated. So we have found out that social protection, culture and recreation requires more financial or has more financial demands than does the governance, justice, law and order.
What reasons do you think were very adequate? Reasons that you heard and you are like, wow, that's a good reason. If I was a government official, I would actually weigh in that and say that's a good reason to give the allocation. If I only had 100 shillings and these are the only 2 sectors, I would say, yes, let's give money according to the ratio being proposed.
The issues with absorption rate and performance of GJ law. So I took this as an adequate issue because GJ law has got a lot of issues to do with justice and trust. So if they performed with 92% the way we rated it, and the other one at 89%, so I saw that this one is a good reason to give it a priority.
In a group 1, reason number 2, to improve livelihood. In fact, I rank it as 1. It is inadequate.
Why?
Reason, there is no way I can see it as from this information given, whereby livelihood can as well make impact to the security, be it social protection or the other one. Because if you look at it, or if in any case you take it in whichever perspective, socially, by improving livelihood, we talk about only the library and the rest of the things. I don't really think if that one can create any.
2, in fact, 1 from group 4. The third was GJ law is currently underfunded. Well, the common thing is that there is no sufficient money to cater for all sectors. All sectors within the government are underfunded. I also have a concern with group table 1 on their second and third points. If they're to give 60% allocation to those, then my argument was that 40%, the vice versa of what they give to energy, is enough to cater for those that they're writing there. there is no point of giving a lot of money in talent development, even if it directly involves Wanjiko. So I think they have exaggerated the amount they are giving to that sector.
I want all of us as a group now to make the decision on how much money do we think we will give to those sectors based on what we've learned now, and also based on our experience in terms of what those two sectors do. Now, the question is, how do we make this decision? Do you want to make it by consensus? Do you think we will agree? Or do you want to make it by voting? Do you want to do secret ballot? How do you think we should make this decision?
The best thing is to vote. To vote? To vote. To decide on the proportion, which proportion we want to. That's how we break the tie.
We agreed to give an average on one of them and then come to a consensus.
I have an idea.
Yes.
We will have group leaders. Groups will appoint one person. And that person will present the views. And then we will list this group, the majority number of groups that will have that are either for infrastructure or for education takes the lead.